mean, she provides mom and notes on questions and everything. She's just.
Yeah, well,
Sarah Melinda is dedicated to this project, and other markets are.
no, I think it's on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. It's interesting.
Yeah,
Interesting.
yeah, yeah. I'm gonna be curious to see how
I
they
just don't know if they're going to get opportunities.
Yeah. Yeah. I tell you, it's a lot of good stories from there.
Oh, I know. I think you've been the one that has seen the best stories.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. And Melissa, she's just like, you know, she's gonna be a celebrity.
Oh, yeah.
And we're good.
Excellent.
Okay, I was going to say there's more duct tape over there.
Right. You should be good with this.
Thank goodness for duct tape.
I know. Isn't that true?
Perfect.
Okay.
I think we're going to go ahead and get started, but we'll wait till Derek, you and Kara get. I don't know if you want to. You ready to go? Okay. Everyone ready? All right. So good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us this morning. It's beginning to look a lot like the holidays around here at the airport. You can see with our decorations. And you may have noticed when you were coming in today all of the garland, the nutcrackers. So I wanted to give you a little bit of information about our holiday decorations because our maintenance team has been working very hard to make sure that the airport looks lovely and festive for the holidays. So we have 45 nutcrackers that have been placed on the interior and the exterior of the airport. Plus we have erected a 40-foot holiday tree, which is in the plaza. You can see that over to my right. Plus we have 95 wreaths throughout the terminal and our offices, and about 1 mile of garland throughout the airport. And this Friday, nearly 1,700, that's 1,700 poinsettias, are going to be placed throughout the terminal and the concourses. So we've really been working hard to make sure that we have a really nice atmosphere for our passengers. And also wanted to mention that we have put holiday trips on the front page of our website. We want to ensure that our passengers have a very smooth experience from curb to gate. And a couple of things that passengers may not be aware of is that they can actually reserve their parking in advance by going to our website. And so we really are encouraging passengers to do that. And of course, there's some of the other tips that we always encourage passengers to do, which is arrive early, 2 hours for a domestic flight, 3 hours in advance for an international flight. So please check out those tips on our website, slcairport.com. And with that, I'd just like to turn the time over to Lori Dankers to give you an update on what's happening with TSA. Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy. It's always fun for me to be able to come to Salt Lake City, talk a little bit about the TSA plans, see the airport and all its splendor. It looks absolutely beautiful. It's wonderful. Thank you. And it is, in fact, that time of year again when it's the Thanksgiving travel crush. I think everybody's anticipating that it will be busy, but the question is just how busy will it be? So TSA is projecting that here at Salt Lake City International Airport, between Tuesday, November 26th and Monday, December 2nd, it will screen more than 200,000 passengers. Now, what's really interesting about the Thanksgiving travel period is it's really a condensed travel time. People are going, trying to make it to their destination by Thanksgiving and then getting back home prior to the work week, or perhaps taking that Monday off. And that's why we get such a concentrated number of people traveling. Nationwide, TSA projects it will screen 18.3 million Nationwide, TSA projects it will screen 18.3 million passengers during that same 7-day period, and that's a 6% increase over what we saw last year. Now, we've been planning for months at TSA for our holiday staffing plan, and what that entails is making sure that we're able to have the lanes staffed, open, so when people are coming, especially during those peak travel times, that we're here to make sure that people can get through the checkpoint quickly and securely. Now, I think it's important for people to know the busiest times when you come to Salt Lake City to depart, and that is from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. and again 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. So if you have a flight that's any time in the morning hours before 11 a.m., you're going to be during that crush. And if you have a flight any time from 2 to 6 p.m., you're also going to find it's going to be extra busy. I would say the rest of the day, the rest of those hours, it's going to be a steady flow of passengers. And what we say at TSA is we have wait time standards, and that is in TSA PreCheck, we try to keep the wait at 10 minutes or less. In standard screening, 30 minutes or less. We routinely exceed these standards here at Salt Lake City, but it doesn't negate the fact that travelers need to arrive early, and they do need to arrive prepared. Now, there'll be a few new things that travelers will see this Thanksgiving travel season here at the airport. And the first one is we have 3 new body scanners in the security checkpoint. These are our latest generation body scanners. And travelers, when they go into this body scanner, instead of putting their hands over their head, will have their hands held at their side. We'll have a TSA officer there to guide travelers to that. So it's a completely different stance than what you're used to doing in the body scanners. The second thing I like to point about these is they have a very open architecture. So for those who are a little claustrophobic in the body scanner, you're going to find that you won't feel that in this particular unit. The next thing is it uses millimeter wave technology. It is not an X-ray. It does not generate a specific image of the traveler. It's the same image for everyone. It's just a standard image, and it does note where on the body something might be concealed or where the officer might need to do some follow-up screening. This is all can be seen by the traveler because it's not an individual image of that traveler. It's just a standard image. It's there for the traveler to see, so they'll know if there's something on their arm or on their leg that needs that follow-up screening, which certainly helps with the process. And the last thing is, this particular unit allows for an image to be stored for immediate resolution, meaning if you came through and you needed to have some follow-up screening, they can send that image to a second monitor that will then allow them to continue screening travelers through that body scanner without waiting for that original traveler to be screened. I can tell you that when we see the unit, this will all become more clear to you, that process, but it's a time saver, it's very quick. Also, these units allow the TSA officer to give corrective feedback to the traveler prior to being scanned. And that means if they're not standing in the proper stance, the officer can make that corrective action, and then the traveler can be scanned properly the first time. So it really helps with our efficiency. We have 3 of those units down in the checkpoint. The next thing I would like to talk about is the identity verification process. TSA has rolled out across the country a facial matching technology that allows the TSA officer, you will scan your photo ID, whether it's your driver's license, you'll hand over your passport if you're using that for your photo ID. This particular unit looks at the facial features on your photo ID, and it compares those with the facial features in a real-time photo that is taken in the security checkpoint. These units are equipped with a camera on a tablet that takes a wide shot of the traveler and then it crops it down to their face. It does that facial matching process very quickly. What it does for the officer is it uses technology for what used to be done manually. And so once the facial matching technology takes place, it is a match of the traveler standing in front of them against the photo ID, then the person is allowed into the security checkpoint. I want to point out that this is always optional. It's not required for travelers to go through the facial matching process, but there is signage posted to that effect. But just so you know, we are using that in every lane in the security checkpoint. We'll take a look at that and how that process works, and I'll even encourage you to try it out for yourself so you can see just how accurate it is. The last thing I want to touch on is the mobile driver's license. We've had that available in Utah for more than a year, but travelers can still download that, and instead of handing over your physical credential, your physical photo ID, you can scan your mobile driver's license in the checkpoint, and it will do a facial matching process for that, the photo in your mobile ID versus the in-person photo. And that's really great for those who like to use technology, maybe early adapters for that, or people who want to just find one less thing. I think we all know, everybody knows where your phone is at all times. You may not know where your driver's license is at all times, and so it certainly is convenient to have that be sort of a one-stop in the checkpoint. We'll take a look at that as well. Now, it's not Thanksgiving travel season without a list of travel tips. So I like to provide my favorite ones for this time of year, and I think these are things you can do today ahead of your travel. The first one is, if you're going to come to the security checkpoint with your luggage, make sure you unpack your bag before you pack it. The reason we encourage you to do that is you're going to remove all those items from your bag, especially those items that you didn't know where they were, but somehow they're in a side zipper pocket or concealed somewhere in your luggage. And then you're going to only put those items in your bag that are allowed through the security checkpoint. You're going to leave those prohibited items at home or place them in a checked bag. We have a table over here of prohibited items that travelers have brought in their carry-on luggage over time. Some of these are recent, some of these are just so good we keep them to show you, to hopefully trigger in your mind that you can not bring these through the security checkpoint. Now, TSA has a lot of online resources that travelers can use to determine if an item is allowed through the security checkpoint. One of them is our Ask TSA account on Facebook Messenger, and on X, you literally can send a picture of an item and you will, in near real time, be told how you can travel with that. The other option is you could just text Ask TSA from your phone, ask a question, and you will get an answer back. So there's really great online resources. The last one that I really like is on the My TSA app. There's a feature called What Can I Bring? You enter the name of the item, tells you how to travel with it. It can't be simpler than that. Just take a few minutes up front and it will save you from having your items displayed on a table like this in the future. So the second thing is, listen to the advice that is provided by the TSA officers in the security checkpoint. We have certain types of equipment, for example, that screen the carry-on property that allow you to leave your electronics larger than a cell phone and your travel size liquid aerosols and gels in your carry-on luggage. But we only have one of those units here. And so if you happen to go through that lane and the officer tells you to leave everything in your bag, they're not kidding. They want you to leave it in your bag because the X-ray technology allows the officer to get a very clear view of the contents of the bag. If the officer tells you to remove those items, please do that. That's going to avoid having your bag rerun. So listen to what they tell you. They're telling you what the procedure is for the type of technology that is in use. They're there to help you, and they're there to make your process through the security checkpoint go quickly. The next one is if you are enrolled in TSA PreCheck, and there are more than 20 million travelers who are eligible for that, double check your airline reservation that your known traveler is in there. Double check to make sure your birthday is correct, that your gender is correct, and of course your name is spelled correctly. When we do the matching of the passenger manifest prior to you traveling, it needs to be an exact match. And if it's not, you won't be eligible for TSA PreCheck, and you're going to be disappointed because you become used to going through the TSA PreCheck lane. So please check those details now ahead of your flight so when you come to the airport, you know what to expect. Also, it's important to note that if you have individuals 17 and under on your same itinerary and you, as the guardian or parent, are eligible for PreCheck, those individuals 17 and under are going to be able to go through the TSA PreCheck lane with you. It's a great way to keep families together. It's a great way to get people through the PreCheck lane together, but they need to be on your same itinerary. The next thing is if you are traveling with foods, and that is extremely common this type of year, make sure you know whether your food is considered a solid or your food is considered a liquid. Examples of solids are things like meats, baked goods, cookies, breads, those type of items that are solids. If it's something like a gravy, salsas, sauces, yes, even cranberry sauce, they need to adhere to the TSA liquids rule, which is they must be under 3.4 ounces, which is 100 milliliters or less to travel in your carry-on luggage. We often tell people if you can, buy these at your destination so you're not leaving food behind with us in the security checkpoint. If you want to check those items in large quantity in your check bag, make sure that you do package them appropriately because obviously as a liquid they could spill. Some foods do require additional inspection, but you'll be present for that the entire time, so keep that in mind. We don't like to have to tell someone they can't travel with a special item that they're bringing for their family, so please plan ahead. Make sure. Another one we see this time of year quite a bit is people like to bring sometimes special wines, so maybe they've been to a winery that they really love and they want to share that with their family. Keep in mind it must adhere to the 3.4 ounces or less rule. And then the last thing is, if you feel like you could use some assistance through the security checkpoint, maybe you're traveling for the first time with a type of medical device, or you have a member of your family who is a little less sure of that process and they're very nervous about it, you can reach out to TSA 72 hours prior to traveling, and you can ask for a passenger support specialist. We'll provide any amount of assistance that you need. You'll have somebody who will work directly with you. You'll be asked to provide your flight information so they know that when you're traveling, and then they'll meet you and go with you through the security process and once again provide you with whatever assistance you need. Now, this is especially helpful for families who have a family member who is autistic and maybe they're concerned about the activity level in the checkpoint. we would have someone there to help you with that process. We're here to make travel possible. We're here to make travel as comfortable and convenient for those travelers. So once again, 72 hours in advance of your travel, you will need to arrange it for each leg of your trip when you're going through security, but it is a real game changer for families, and it's one that our officers, our personnel absolutely love providing to families to make that travel possible. So in closing, I would like to just point out that in the security checkpoint, you are going to see our uniformed officers working. You're also going to see a lot of our administrative staff in the checkpoint helping with the customer service function, so that our certified officers, our uniformed officers, are there to perform the certified security functions. It's going to be an all hands on deck approach. And one last request I have for you: when you come through the security checkpoint, when you're going to see your friends and family, please consider saying thank you to our officers. They're going to be working the entire holiday period. They knew that when they signed up to take the job, but it's always great to get a thank you, especially during this season of Thanksgiving. And with that being said, I'd like to open it up for questions for Nancy or me. And then once we do finish that, we are going to go down into the checkpoint. You can leave your larger equipment up here. Someone will stay with it. But we're going to look at some of those technologies that I talked about. So any questions? Yes.
So the passenger count, you mentioned it number. So how does that compare to last year?
Yeah, so in terms of the percentage increase, I'm still waiting for that stat and I'll get back to you. But if you think of that 7-day period, we're looking at 200,000 people. The busiest days are going to be Tuesday and Wednesday, and then also Saturday and Sunday coming out of the holiday. In terms of it being a record breaker, I looked at some of the busiest days for TSA at Salt Lake City, and it will not be a record breaker. Those are like in about the 37,000 people screened through the checkpoint in a single day. We will not see those volumes, but what we will see is definitely peaks during the day when we're going to have a lot of people coming through the checkpoint, which is why we always make the reminder to arrive early and prepared. So that's that. I will get that information for you though.
What are some of the reasons you see for delays?
Say again?
What are some of the reasons you see for delays for holidays?
The recent
Any delays that you see?
Oh, any delays? Yeah, well, you know what? People often will ask me, you know, what causes the delays? Why do we see sometimes? So any type of weather event anywhere across the country actually impacts operations everywhere. Why? Because if people know a storm is coming, they're going to come to the airport early. And maybe in our projections, we thought they were coming between 10 and noon, and suddenly we have a crush of people between 8 a.m. and 10 a.m. We understand that people do that. They like to stay ahead of the storm, or flight cancellations have the opposite effect. Then that next day, we'll have all the people who were supposed to travel the previous day come, and it causes another crush. And those are the kind of unexpected things that are outside of our control. And that's why I always say, expect the unexpected, allow time for that. So weather would be a variable, and of course flight cancellations, which are also outside of the traveler's control. What I can tell you though is from the TSA staffing perspective, we watch all of those very carefully and we adjust our schedules accordingly. Mm-hmm. Any other questions? I would just add at the very end that TSA does project that on Sunday, December 1st, it will break a single day screening record of up to 3.1 million people traveling nationwide. So those are all the people that left over the previous 3, 4, 5 days coming back on that Sunday. We are watching that very closely. We're working with the airlines on the number of seats sold. There'll be certain airports where it will be especially busy. Some of the biggest airports in the country will screen well in excess of 100,000 people that day. They know that that's coming and we will be ready. So if you're one of those individuals traveling on that Sunday from whatever location you're at, know that it will be busy across the board and be sure that you arrive early. Okay, anything else, Nancy?
No, I was just going to say, is everyone planning to go down to the security screening point? Okay, if there's any equipment bags you need to leave up here, we'll have staff up here to make sure that we're keeping an eye on it. So feel free to do that.
So if you want to take a look at the prohibited items as we break down, that would be great. I don't know, will those be here when we get back? Probably not, so that's now or never.